Donald Trump is scared. Aside from his late-night rage tweeting about Biden and Kamala Harris, he's now alleging that Kamala Harris is seeking to perpetrate a $91.5 million heist of Joe Biden's leftover campaign cash, a money grab that would constitute the single largest excessive contribution and biggest violation in the history of the Federal Election Campaign Act of 1971. He's wrong, of course, and this official complaint will go nowhere. But that won't stop Donald Trump whining, complaining, and trying to make a scene, anything to discredit the Democrats. Kamala Harris's campaign has raised an astonishing $100 million in just 36 hours, breaking records and raising more than the Biden campaign had raised in months. Remember, Donald Trump can't win on votes. His rhetoric of far-right hate speech and abuse of women and minorities, it's not a vote winner, and it's too late to tone it down. So he's going to have to resort to distractions by enlisting the courts at every juncture of this election, including seeking to have the result overturned when he loses. Trump lives in a bubble. Imagine how he's going to feel about getting beat by a black female. He thinks everyone is as racist as he is, so he simply won't be able to process it, in the same way that he can't compute how she can outraise him or how she has access to the Biden-Harris campaign funds. He just can't get his head around it. And unfortunately, he's already weaponized the courts with his own MAGA Republican operatives in senior judicial positions. So the energy and the momentum for Kamala Harris must be extra galling for him right now. Meanwhile, abortion access stands to be the major issue in the election. Kamala Harris has said that everything is at stake with reproductive health in November's election and has traveled across the country to draw attention to the issue, including in Des Moines roughly a year ago, after the stricter law was initially passed there. And can you think of a better messenger on women's reproductive rights than Kamala Harris? She can talk about it in a way that Joe Biden simply couldn't. Well, as we've heard today, an Iowa judge has ruled that the state's strict abortion law will take effect on Monday, preventing most abortions after about 6 weeks of pregnancy, before many women even know that they're pregnant. Abortion had been legal in the state for up to 20 weeks of pregnancy, and this is the embers of Trump's America. The legacy of his presidency is this unlawful abortion ban, taking the U.S. right back to 1973. Women won't vote for that. And J.D. Vance is all for that. And so voting Trump means voting against women's rights. It's simple. I just want to interrupt myself for a moment to ask you to support me and independent journalism by becoming a member of this YouTube channel. Click join just below. It starts at just $3 a month, and it would be really helpful because at the moment, things have never been more complex and more dangerous with the rise of fascism and the fall of US democracy. So I'm going to do my best to put these messages and this analysis out every single day, but I really need your help to do that. If you don't want to join the YouTube channel and you're already on Patreon, you can sign up for my Patreon as well at patreon.com/5minutenews. Thank you. In other news, Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries have endorsed Kamala Harris, giving her campaign another boost. Schumer is the Senate Democrat leader. He said at a press conference that Democrats and the country were brimming with excitement, enthusiasm, and unity at the prospect of her candidacy. Jeffries, the House Minority Leader, said that Harris had earned the nomination from the grassroots up, not the top down, and said that he strongly endorsed her. She is ready, she is willing, she is able to energetically and emphatically lead America into the future, he said. All tied together, Kamala Harris has now earned enough delegates to become the likely Democratic Party nominee after California delegates voted unanimously to endorse her. Nancy Pelosi made the motion to endorse Harris for president at the virtual meeting of California's DNC delegation on Monday evening. Remember, the Democratic National Convention delegates are still free to vote for the candidate of their choice at their convention in August, or if Democrats go through with a virtual roll call instead of that gathering in Chicago. Finally, I want to remind those people who are still losing sleep over Joe Biden's decision to step aside that as a Democrat, you're voting for a party, not for a person. Joe Biden is not a cult leader. He's a torchbearer. he selflessly handed that torch to Kamala Harris. So while it's fine to feel sad about what's gone before, it's essential to waste no time pivoting to the new presumptive candidate, because the stakes are just as high as they were with Joe Biden. American democracy and its institutional freedoms are just as much at stake. Joe Biden is still the president until January and will always be regarded as one of, if not the most successful and influential presidents in our history. Ignore the conspiracy theories about him being forced out or being sicker than they're telling us. That's all right-wing propaganda. Biden is an honorable man who was the first person on this planet to endorse Kamala Harris for president. It's down to us to take him at his word. I'm Anthony Davis. Support me on the 5 Minute News YouTube and Patreon. Catch me on Wednesdays co-hosting Uncovered and on Sunday on The Weekend Show with Midas Touch.